Howdy, it's Steven here, and in today's video, we are going to be breaking down the must-start kickers for your fantasy football teams going into week number 8. And we had a fun week 7, guys. Lots of good kickers, lots of good, exciting stuff. I ate a whole lot of food, lots of tasty treats, had some barbecue on my face, that is for sure, and some nacho cheese fries, guys. And we are ready for a more exciting week 8, guys. And if you are not already a part of the Catch Fam, we certainly recommend that you hit the subscribe button. Come on over, join the Catch Fam, the best community in all of fantasy football. And if you like this video, if you like looking at my chicken rooster haircut, go ahead and like it. You know, it means a ton to the channel when you hit that like button. And most importantly, make sure you get in the comments. Let us know what your roster is looking like this week. Let us know who you're putting in on your starters. Let us know who you're benching or cutting. We want to know that too, guys. And hey, heck, let us know what you're eating for football Sunday, guys. But without further ado, let's get into it. Let's get into the must-start kicker. Up at number 1, we're talking about the Georgia State stud who is just over 20% rostered. Will Lutz, the guy who rhymes with Utz chips, man. And by the way, I do not like Utz chips. Not one of my favorites, right? But right outside the top 12, he is 13th on the season right now. But he is coming off of a trend right now, which I love to just hop onto, right? He had 9, 14, and 11 points most recently against Arizona Cardinals. He's looking really strong. I think this is part of this Saints offense, kind of having some pieces around it to move down the field and put up points, but they are still not that explosive offense that we may thought they were going to be coming into the season. Alvin Kamara, though, is still getting it done. I like Will Lutz here. Going up against the Las Vegas Raiders, one of the easier opponents to go up against. 4 kickers, Kaimi Fairbairn for the Houston Texans just had close to double digits against them, and I think the Saints have a better offense than them. I think Will Lutz here is going to continue this trend of moving upward. I think he's going to break into the top 12. I think this is a good play here. I've been recommending Will Lutz over the past couple weeks just because of matchups and just because this guy has been getting the usage, right? And you can even see it his last week. He had the 40 to 49 range too. So he's been successful from the deep kicks throughout his career. He was perfect on Thursday Night Football. I really like Will Lutz. I think you can plug him in here again. Then going forward, he's got Baltimore and Pittsburgh, so we'll evaluate then. But I do think this is a really good chance for Will Lutz to break into the top 12. Go ahead and grab him. Grab Will Lutz. You need to get it done. Oh, baby, baby, baby. Up next, we're talking about Jason Myers, number 2. I love this guy, and he is under 20% rostered. For crying out loud. He is the number 3 kicker on the season, and he is under 20% rostered. Everybody, go flood the markets. Go get this man. He is the hottest commodity. Think of a nice cut cold piece of pepperoni pizza. This guy is absolutely delicious. Go ahead and grab him. He is good. This dude is under 20% rostered. I don't understand it, right? This guy is coming off of a great stretch. Listen to these games all the way dating back to week 3. 11, 13, 9, 13, 16. He is a part of a very explosive offense that knows how to get it done. Yeah, DK Metcalf got hurt. I'm not worried because this team still put up a shit ton of points against the Los Angeles Chargers. They are good, man. They got Kenneth Walker. They still got Tyler Lockett. They got a ton of weapons right here that they use. And Geno Smith has been executing very efficiently. And I think Pete Carroll's got these guys coached up well, right? This is going to be a home game in Seattle. He has played well at home so far this season, putting up some of his better performances there. I like this guy a lot. I think Jason Myers is going to get it done. Sometimes with Seattle, the weather can get hazy, so always monitor that. But obviously, I love Jason Myers. I can't say it enough, guys. After this, he's got Arizona and Tampa Bay, too. So, listen, I don't want to always put the same kickers in my videos, but I can tell you this right now. Jason Myers is going to be in my video next week, too, because he's going up against the Arizona Cardinals, who suck against the kicker position. They also suck against the tight end position as well. But listen, guys, go ahead, grab Jason. I can't say it enough. He is under 20% rostered, the number 3 kicker, and he's going up against the Giants this week, which I think it should be a competitive matchup. I think you need to go ahead and grab him. He is going to be a stud rest of season. At number 3, we're talking about the Graham Gano. over 51% rostered in leagues, which is really exciting because I've been tracking this guy for a while, and I think he just is starting to break over the top 50 percent rostered wise, and he is at number 4 kicker, so right behind Jason Myers, but inside that top 5. This has been a guy that I keep going to back and forth all season long. He's coming off of a great stretch as well, similar to Jason Myers, excluding week 6, right? He had 17 back in week 2, followed it up by a 14, 9, 10, 6, and 11-point performance, right? And when you look at that Baltimore Ravens game, I think there were some reasons for the fact that they didn't play that great. He only had 1 attempt, which is really not what I want to see. And it was only in the 30 to 39 range, right? But against Seattle, one of the easier teams to go against for the kicker position, I think GANO could potentially be in line for a better performance than Jason Myers this week, because historically on the season now, the Giants have been a little bit tougher against the kicker position just because their defense is a little bit better. Obviously, the Seahawks defense is a little bit easy to move the ball against. I think GANO is going to be in a great spot for it here. You know, it's all kind of the perfect recipe, right? Offense that is not really that fire. They don't have high firepower, right? So not a lot of big plays. So what they do is they typically drive the ball all the way down, get into field goal range, and then this is an efficient bunch of coaches. They take the points at every opportunity, and so they rely on their big guy, GANO, right? I think GANO is going to be a stud this week, and after that, unfortunately, he's got the bye week, but I can tell you this right now, week 10, he is going to be in my roster again because he's got Houston and Detroit after the bye week too. So this is going to be a guy you're going to see for a while because I truly do think he is going to finish in the top 5. He's an absolute stud, a part of an offense that supports the kicker position. Go ahead and throw him in there against Seattle. I think it's going to be a good week. Up next, we're talking to a guy. Go look up this man, Joey SLYE, for the Washington Commanders. Look him up. He looks like Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant when he was fighting the bear. Just putting his hands on him, getting grisly with him, saying, "Get back, bear, I got you now. I can kick balls all day long." Well, guess what, guys? You're talking about Joey SLYE. Who is Joey SLYE? Well, he played at Virginia Tech. He's a Hokie. He's a local boy for the Washington area, and he is 0% rostered. Give me a crying out loud. Well, Steven, his numbers haven't been great this far. Yeah, but he had 10 fantasy points against Green Bay, going up against Indy, one of the easiest opponents to kick against. And I do think this is a game where Washington might be in favor here. I mean, the defense is actually probably going to be a pretty decent play as well with the Sam Ehlinger start over Matt Ryan. I think the Colts are kind of saying, all right, listen, this season is not going the way we want it. We might now be in the Bryce Young sweepstakes, maybe doing a little bit of tank job in Indy. I certainly hope not as a fan of the Colts, but honestly, I think that's what the direction is going to be, right? Because Jim Irsay's already hinted at the fact of clearing house. Frank Wright, Chris Ballard, those guys' jobs might be on the line. And I think when you look at Joey SLYE and this Washington team, listen, Washington has a few wins now. They are in a division which is surprisingly good, but they can still win this. They got Taylor Heineke. They got a very dominant ground game. And I think Joey SLYE is another dude that is going to be so important for this Washington team to get the job done, right? I think you go ahead, you grab Joey SLYE. I think he's a good start in deeper leagues. I wouldn't think that he's going to be picked up in a lot of like 10, 12 team leagues, but if you're in a deeper league than that, I think he's a good play. And if you have faith in this Washington team, I think you can go ahead and grab them against the Colts here because they have been very, very generous to the kicker position this season. Up next, we're talking about Jason Sanders for the Miami Dolphins. This guy's been kind of all over the place this season. 8% rostered, so he's out there for sure, just inside the top 20, coming off of a big game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, the New Mexico kicker. I loved to see what I saw on him against Pittsburgh. He had 2 from the 40 to 49 range. Going up against Detroit, an easier opponent to kick against. This is going to be in Detroit, so it's dome controlled. We don't have to worry about any weather, which is always a relief because with Miami kickers, you always have to worry about a little bit of rain action. But I think this guy, Jason Sanders, is going to be able to get it done here. This is probably going to be a relatively high over-under game, I would imagine. And I think Jason Sanders is going to be in line for a lot of opportunities against the Detroit Lions here. Just bottom line, Tua, when he is in the lineup, this offense is better. The offense is more efficient. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill and Raheem Mostert, all these guys can cook. And I think ultimately the big benefactor of that is Jason Sanders. Go ahead and put him in your lineups, guys. I think he's a decent play this week. Up next, we're talking about Jake Elliott, just inside the top 30. He is not a very heavily rostered kicker either, which is a theme that you will see here. I'm trying to target kickers that are not heavily rostered here. Jake Elliott, 5% rostered, coming off a 10-point performance before the bye week against the Dallas Cowboys, where he looked really good. This was a game where they actually needed him, right? But going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, this defense is not absolutely god-awful garbage like we maybe thought they were the first few games of the season. I mean, when you look at kind of exactly what Jason Sanders just did to them, as we just highlighted, double-digit points, right? But Pittsburgh can make some things happen. One thing that I've noticed with the Eagles all season long is their second half efficiency is not that good. So we might see a little bit more cleanup time in the second half. One thing about Jake Elliott, too, is that he was kind of banged up throughout the beginning of the season. He missed that Arizona game, got healthy for the Dallas Cowboys game, and he looked really good. So I want to follow this trend going forward because as we saw over the past couple of years, Jake Elliott, when things are right, when he's healthy, and when he's given the opportunities, is an absolute stud. He is right outside my top 5 for guys that I should be looking at here. But I think he could be a good play here against Pittsburgh. I think this is a perfect kind of matchup for it. Go ahead and grab Jake Elliott. I think he's going to be a good start here. Up next, we're going to round out the kickers with Tyler Bass, one of the consistent boys here. I love Tyler Bass, man, fisherman, and he is fantastic, right? But listen, guys, on this season, he's not been as great as he was last year because a lot of the boom has been gone. But going up against Green Bay here, which obviously just gave up the double-digit performance to Mr. Joey SLYE with the Washington Commanders, I think Tyler Bass is going to be in for a good recipe for a good game here. Potentially a type of recipe that he saw with the Baltimore Ravens game where he put up a decent amount of points, had 11 fantasy points, right? I like Tyler Bass a lot. If you were in a situation where you feel pretty comfortable about your matchup this week, right? You don't need like a guy that potentially could break out for like 15 plus points or something. This is a dude who's always going to be safe for you because this Bills offense is very, very consistent. One of the more consistent ones. The biggest concern you have to have with Tyler Bass is that they score a ton of touchdowns and not a lot of field goals, right? But I think in this game here, this is almost kind of a must-win, desperate play for the Green Bay Packers, who I think are double-digit underdogs in this game. I think the Packers defense steps up a little bit. They had some good plays against the Washington Commanders in that one with the called back defensive touchdown. But I think that this is going to be a good game for Tyler Bass here. I'd put him in our lineups, guys. He is at home, too. So the only thing I want you to also just pay attention to is whether if Tyler Bass is impacted by weather. I would not like this play as much, guys. But other than that, you can go ahead and you can start the Georgia Southern Tyler Bass, man, Fisher, man. And with that said, guys, this has been the must-start kickers for your fantasy football teams. It is going to be a fun one. We have had a very exciting season so far. I mean, we just had the Bears beat the Patriots last night. I mean, this is just one of the most ridiculous seasons so far this year, guys. And I am excited for the future, guys. I'm excited for all these kickers that are going to keep getting it done. Oh, with all that said, guys, if you are not already part of the Kids fam, we certainly encourage you to hit the subscribe button, join the best community in all of fantasy football, and we certainly do appreciate if you hit that like button. It truly means a ton to the channel if you like these videos. And most importantly, get in those comments. Let us know who is on your rosters. Let us know what options you're considering for the kicker position, and I will do my best to help you set up your team before Sunday. With all that said, this has been the Must Start Kickers, and you saw it here first at the catch.